let's keep moving on now. We've looked at reversing mace, straight punch defense, and we've looked at the nature of this step, how moving up the circle puts me offline of his attack and puts me in an optimal position to counterattack. What I want to do now is look at the reverse movement. Instead of stepping in this direction, what if we step in a circular movement in the opposite direction? Is that something that we can use? Let's change sides. Now it certainly is, and we're going to illustrate this using a self-defense situation that might seem a little counterintuitive. See, I'm going to start with my right foot forward, and I'm going to move in a circle this way. And Justin's going to do a right roundhouse kick to my ribs. So demonstrate the attack. Now at first glance, when you're looking at this attack, and I tell you we're going to step in this direction, you might call me crazy. You might say, well, we're going to step right into the attack, but we're not. Let's look at what happens. So he throws his kick, and I move, and you can see I move out of line of the attack. Why is that? Well, it all comes down to, again, understanding the geometry of motion. Let's look at a different attack. Let's look at a sloppy roundhouse kick. So now he's going to keep his legs straight. Now if he kicks and I move, I'm stepping right into it. What's the difference? Well, when he's throwing his roundhouse kick, he's certainly, do it slow motion, he's certainly tracing out a circular path. It's circular in nature. But there's a main difference between that kick and do a straight leg kick again and this kick. The roundhouse kick has a changing radius, and that's what we're making use of. That's what we're exploiting. If your timing is accurate, when he goes to kick and you move right out of line. And now notice, in this instance, I use my block. That's not to prevent him from hitting me. I'm using it to my advantage. I want to make use of frictional pull if possible. Now the block isn't always going to make contact. It depends on multiple factors. It depends on your timing, the sense of distance, okay? But if you can get that block in place and you can use frictional pull, you can elongate your opponent's base, and that will buy you an extra fraction of a second, because elongating his base is going to slow him down and it's going to negate his ability to use his legs. If you don't believe that, get into a wide stance, throw a kick, and bring your stance in the appropriate distance, and then throw the kick. Compare the two. You'll see that it's going to take you more time. You're going to have to shift your weight, and it's definitely going to slow you down. So that's what we're trying to make use of, because any little extra time that I can get, that's going to help out. Okay? So when he kicks, now we move, we deflect, and then I can counterattack with a kick to the groin. If I want, I can kick out that knee. Okay, you guys can play around with the technique and see what counterattacks you can come up with. I had one student that used this particular strategy to win several first place trophies in sparring and tournaments. And she would very often step out of line, deflect the kick, and then catch the person with a kick to the ribs, or come in and throw a kick at the face. Okay, it's very off-putting when you're throwing a roundhouse kick, and you're typically, when dealing with this kick, you're expecting the person to move to the inside. See, that's a good strategy. I'm certainly not, if he kicks, I'm not going to try to meet the kick and stop it. That's got too much momentum. It's going to most likely break my arm. So since we don't want to absorb the impact, we run away from the kick, and then we can move in and catch him with a hammer. Basically using reversing mace on the inside, but that's it, that's the key word. We're on the inside. When he kicks, I move to this position, there's many more variables that I have to contend with than if when he kicks, I move to this position. You can see this is an optimal position for me. And again, that's not to say that he can't counterattack. He has options, but I've limited them quite a bit by moving into an obscure zone. Okay, so why don't you guys get to work on that, and then we'll see if you have any questions.